Good evening, everyone. We now have 6 p.m., and I will call the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for the City of College Station to order. If everyone will please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I notice sometimes no matter where I stand, I'm going to block the flag, so I try to move out of the way as best I can. Moving on to item 2, which is hear visitors. At this time, we will open up the floor for visitors wishing to address the commission on issues already not on tonight's agenda. The secretary has let us know that no one has signed up to speak for hear visitors. Is there anyone that would like to step forward and do so now? Seeing no one, we will move on to item 3, our consent agenda. The only item that is on there is 3.1, our minutes from October the 2nd. Is there any discussion, or do we need to pull anything out of there for discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Approval?
Have a motion.
I second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, that is approved. Moving on to our regular agenda for the evening. Item 5.1, public hearing, presentation, discussion, and possible action regarding an ordinance amending Appendix A of the Unified Development Ordinance, Article 4, Zoning Districts, Section 4.2, Official Zoning Map of the Code of Ordinances for the City of College Station, Texas, by changing the zoning district boundaries from GS, General Suburban, to MH, Middle Housing, on approximately 0.5 acres generally located at 1612 Park Place, A and B. Mr. Seagraves, welcome.
Sir, thank you. Good evening, council or board members. Garrett Seagraves, Planning and Development Services. This evening's request is to rezone the 2 quarter-acre lots shown on this slide at 1612 A and B Park Place, and they are currently developed as single-family homes. These properties' comprehensive plan land use is mixed residential, which allows for a mix of moderate density residential development that is appropriate for residential infill and redevelopment that allows original character to evolve. The request tonight is to rezone the property from GS General Suburban to MH Middle Housing. Permitted uses for middle housing include duplex, single family, and townhouse. After discussion and review, staff has determined that this request met the outlined rezoning criteria, such as being consistent with the comp plan, a fitting use appropriate to the area, and having physical suitability with the proposed district. This will be heard at the November 13th council meeting, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Seagraves? I have one quick one just because of all of the things that have been going on. What is appropriate for middle housing again?
Townhouse, duplex, single family.
Versus what is appropriate for general suburban?
Only single family.
Only
so
single
it just
family,
allows
okay.
for a more diverse
I know you just said it. I'm just trying to make sure
development.
I got that all wrapped up since we've been going through things. Mr. Collins?
Were there any,
Mr.
were there any objections?
I did not receive any inquiries for or against this.
What's currently on the property?
Both lots currently have single family homes on them.
And as we've talked about before, with everything else around this general suburban, is there a plan for anything else in this area switching to middle housing? Because for a good portion, our commission hasn't really liked single spot zoning like this. I know that's not the correct term, but
Yeah, there was, I know previously, a motion, city initiated rezoning for this, but that was denied. And technically this does, follow the comp plan, so it's not considered spot zoning. But as of right now, we have no other applications to rezone to middle housing in this area.
Would you consider middle housing genuinely appropriate for mixed residential? Because obviously we're looking at the future land use and that's it. So,
Yes, sir.
okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
one other question for me. So, I know it fits the future land use, and that's good. But like, is there a worry that it's not fitting everything else around it
That would,
currently?
yes, sir. That would probably just be more of a concern for the public and the surrounding area. Our main concern is that it fits the comp plan.
Just procedurally speaking, I know the answer, but I know you're required to inform everyone within 500 feet of the
It's
subject
200
property?
feet.
200 feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so how many properties did that encompass in this particular category? And were you able to reach all those owners?
I do not remember the number off the top of my head. It should be in the staff report, though.
Looks like 15 or 20?
Yeah, I
Okay.
believe 15.
Were you able to
was it.
reach all affected parties?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Is the applicant here?
I do not believe so.
I see him there.
Okay, this.
Does anybody else have any questions for Mr. Seagraves? Would the applicant like to step forward? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name's Glenn Jones with J4 Engineering. I'm the applicant's agent and the civil engineer for the project. The current houses, 2 houses there are 4-bedroom, 4-bath. So they're student housing now, which is what most of this property is in the area. So the zoning's kind of fitting the use, if you will.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
You said that's what's there right now?
Yes, sir. 2, 1 on each lot, 4-bedroom, 4-bath homes.
What is proposed, may I ask?
There's no proposal. At the moment, there's no proposal to change that.
Is this going to affect the parking requirements? Are they going to be required to put parking sufficient for a 4-bedroom, 4-bath middle housing?
I assume they have that requirement met now, but there's 4 bedrooms, there should be 4 parking spaces.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, sorry, just thought I saw you grab it. This is scheduled for a public hearing. At this time, we will open up the public hearing. We do have one person that has signed up for this, Mr. Gross. If you want to step forward, sir.
Everybody here? Hello, how you doing? My name is Cliff
So-
Gross, and
okay.
I just had a question to...
If you could state your address for us also.
Oh, my address is 1632A, and my sister lives in B, which is next door. But my question, he kind of answered what, my question was, why at this time are we going from general suburban to middle housing when it's from what I just gathered from the contractor, that it's going to be the same? Is it, 'cause that's my concern, is it going to be like small apartment housing? Because, I mean, we have 2-story houses there, 4-bedroom and these things of that nature. Great that they look like houses, but I'm just asking, is this going to be like a mini high-rise, or where we're going with this? That was my question. Thank you.
And did he answer that sufficiently for you, or as best as he could?
He didn't say what he was going to build. That's my question. Yes. Thank you.
So Garrett, in response to that question, middle housing as a designation only came into existence within the past 4 years or so. Is that correct?
Correct.
So when this was zoned, general suburban middle housing wasn't an option for zoning, was it?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. In regard to that specific question as well, this middle housing will not bring in any multifamily or anything like that. So it's solely duplex, single-family oriented.
So basically, as the applicant was saying, it's what's already there. They're just bringing it in line kind of more to what's already there
Yes, sir.
with this zoning request. Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to step forward? Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing and move to the will of the commission.
My only concern is, again, we're getting back to the spot zoning.
Mm-hmm.
Isolating one set of lots in relationship to it and making changes. And then, you've got one here and one there and one over yonder. I mean, we struggled a year ago trying to keep from doing that. And that's my only concern at this point, relationship to one of the older residential areas in our city. And this is beginning to happen. So that's my concern.
While I share Commissioner Chalupka's concern, staff has looked at this and recommended it. It does meet the parking requirements currently, so there won't have to be any changes. It does fit with the future land use, and most importantly, everyone affected was informed and had the opportunity to speak tonight, and we don't have any general objections from the people who live there. So despite any concerns I might have, I really can't think of a reason to deny this request.
Gentleman to my left.
Is there a height limitation on on any future development?
Sir, it's 2.5 stories or 35 feet, whichever comes first.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that,
Any other discussion? Do we have a motion? We have a motion. Do we have a second? Just like with everyone else, I know as a commission, we haven't liked singling out specific lots and/or multiple lots like this when the surrounding areas tends to stay at the current zoning. But I think what we've all kind of understood here, one, as Commissioner Collins said, there's hasn't been any objection, but I think this is kind of getting us in line with what's already there. And again, middle housing wasn't available at the time some of these facilities were built, I would imagine. But having a motion and a second, we'll call the agenda item. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That passes. We will move on to 5.2 of the agenda, a public hearing, presentation, discussion, and possible action regarding an ordinance amending Appendix A of the Unified Development Ordinance, Article 4, Zoning Districts, Section .2 of the official zoning map of the Code of Ordinances for the City of College Station by changing the zoning district boundaries from R Rural to PDD Planned Development District for approximately 3.60 acres at 3768 McCullough Road. Mr. Howell.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. Jeff Howell with the Planning and Development Services Department. Tonight's request, as mentioned, is a rezoning request for approximately 3.6 acres of unplatted property, generally located at 3768 McCullough Road. As you can see from the aerial, the subject property is currently vacant and is a portion of the church property. The Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map designates this area as neighborhood commercial. This designation is an area for commercial activities that cater primarily to nearby residents and are smaller in format than general commercial land uses. Tonight's rezoning request is to rezone the property currently designated as R Rural to PDD Planned Development District with a base zoning of Wellborn Commercial. The applicant intends to develop the property as an extension to the adjacent PDD use, which includes self-storage, driveways, detention, and landscape buffer as shown on the concept plan. The proposed development is proposed to take access through the adjacent church property. As part of the rezoning to PDD, a concept plan is required, which can be seen here. The stated purpose and intent of the requested PDD is to provide the needed commercial uses to support the increase in residential development in the area. The concept plan proposes a commercial development with buildings proposed to be single-story, ranging from 10 to 25 feet in height and not larger than 10,000 square feet. The applicant is requesting the following modifications as indicated on the concept plan. There are a total of 5 modifications proposed. The first 2 are related to uses found in section 6.3. As part of the modifications, the applicant is requesting the additional allowed uses, which include wholesales, warehousing, self-storage, and educational facilities. Also, the applicant is requesting to prohibit the following uses, which may be seen also as a community benefit, which are daycares and restaurants. These same modifications were included as part of the adjacent PDD. The next is for the waiver of the NRA or non-residential architectural application requirements found in the Unified Development Ordinance for Wellborn Commercial, which relate to a covered porch, facade articulation, and architectural relief elements. It was indicated that these buildings do not front onto Wellborn Road and do not have visibility from that road, which is why the applicant is requesting this. And the next is regarding roof pitch. The UDO does require that buildings in the Wellborn Commercial Zoning District are required to have a minimum roof pitch of 4 inches to 12 inches. The applicant is requesting this to be reduced to 3 to 12. And then the last modification is to parking. The UDO requires that parking not be located between the building and the adjacent residential uses. The applicant is asking that this to be removed and to allow parking as indicated on the concept plan. It was indicated that parking is not initially proposed as part of the proposed use, which is self-storage, which does not have a parking requirement. However, if parking is to be required, it is to be placed as shown on the concept plan. And so to offset the requirements or the modifications, the applicant does offer the following community benefits, which includes an increase to the landscape buffer to up to 30 feet and to be proposed on 3 sides. Within this buffer, it is to require 2 non-canopy trees for every 15 feet and 2 canopy trees for every 25 feet. This is an overall increase of the buffer by 10 feet, double the plantings, and placed on 2 additional sides that would not otherwise be required. The adjacent PDD does have a similar landscape buffer community benefit. And then the second community benefit is for limiting the building height to 1 story or not to exceed 25 feet at the highest point. The UDO does allow for 2 stories and 35 feet, so this is an overall reduction in the overall height. Staff has received 1 phone call in support of this request and 3 phone calls of inquiry. And with that, staff is recommending approval of the rezoning request and the associated concept plan, and these items will be heard at the November 13th City Council meeting. And that concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions, as is the applicant.
While we have him up there, any questions for Jeff?
There were no questions from the previous property owners adjacent to this time, because this came before us before in a different presentation, and they were concerned with the state rural estate look and everything else in relationship to the property adjacent to it.
Yeah, so there was a similar request that was brought forward earlier this year, and that was for the change in the comprehensive plan to change the future land use designation to neighborhood commercial. And so that was ultimately approved by City Council, which is why the future land use is what it is. But we did receive inquiries about what was going on there, what was being proposed. And then we did hear some feedback about notification as well as what was ultimately being requested for this development.
So was there anything about parking? Did anybody would have a complaint about the parking?
No, it wasn't mentioned, no.
Could you go back to the aerial, please? Yeah, right there. Now, that appears to be a retention pond of some, a pair of retention ponds on that side of the, have there been any inquiries about potential rainwater flowing into off and across McCullough Road by
that wasn't mentioned, but ultimately when this, if this were to be approved, a site plan would be required, at which time detention would be looked at as part of that application.
Okay.
Jeff, can you go back to the waiver about the parking?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So to allow parking adjacent to residential use. Now, can you go
Right.
back to their proposed buffer?
Right.
They're going to put a buffer on all sides that abut any residential use. Why
Right.
would they need a waiver of the parking along those areas if they intend to put landscaping there?
Because the UDO requires that parking not be provided between the building and the adjacent residential uses. So to make that modification, the applicant is requesting that change.
Given this site plan, if they were going to utilize that waiver, there would still be the green space between where the parking was and where the commercial is. So they wouldn't be able to park right against the edge of the property because there's a green space buffer.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Can you go back to the site plan? And so, just trying to make sure there's no road access to McCullough Road. Everything's going to go out to Welborn Road?
That's correct. So as you can see here, and then you can also see it on the aerial as well. Access is proposed to go through a shared access easement out to
That's
McCullough Road.
that's the existing road that's already there?
That's correct.
Okay. And then one other question, if you can go back to the waiver request? Kind of just from, so if it is going to be self-storage, why did the other 3 allowed uses need to be added as well? I'm just curious.
Just for consistency with the adjacent PDD.
Okay, so that's all with their PD, okay. But this is going to be self-storage or storage units?
That's what the applicant has indicated, but it does allow for additional uses which are allowed under the Welborn Commercial Zoning District, which
Okay.
is why the parking mention is there. Just in the event that parking is proposed, it's going to be shown or put as indicated as a concept plan, but the adjacent PDD, which was rezoned back in 2020, had these same uses, the both allowed and prohibited uses.
Any other questions for Jeff? Microphone.
I'm familiar with some other storage buildings around town that have additional uses, CrossFit gyms, commercial operations out of the warehouse building, so where they're mostly just storage of commercial vehicles and commercial implements. So that makes sense. All right, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Any other questions? You said the applicant is here. Would the applicant like to step forward to make a statement? Busy evening.
Again, Glenn Jones, J4 Engineering. I'm the owner's agent and the site engineer for this project.
Anybody have any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is scheduled for a public hearing. At this time, we will open up the public hearing. We do have one person that has signed up, Ms. Cohen. And if you could just state your name and address for us, please, ma'am.
Jane Cohen, 3655 McCullough Road, College Station, the Wellborn community. The Wellborn District Plan in October 2023 specifies: 1, retain rural character and appearance. Number 2, character of historic Wellborn community. 3, does not allow self-storage areas. This is a request by one person compared to many residents and staff in multiple committee meetings to develop the Wellborn District Plan. The request is not consistent with the Wellborn District Plan. Drainage. I've seen the Wellborn Church Road covered with water. Now, right now that might be okay, we need rain, but the plan does not adequately collect and discharge stormwater with a flow equal to or less than pre-development flows. I'm concerned about flooding by Wellborn Church Road, and that's one of their entrances. I appreciate the details on the landscaped buffer, but I would encourage planting native trees, pollinator trees, as the College Station Parks and Recreation Department encourages. What would be the screening along the property line? Open rural areas don't have much screening, certainly not screening fences. But I understand that in an urban environment that may be considered. I have strong lighting concerns. Rural areas do not need bright lights like a storage unit might have. Excess lighting in a rural area, it needs to go down lighting without glare and as low as they can have it. The request says, quote, the property will achieve its highest and best use. But what about the Wellborn community's best use for historic character and appearance in the Wellborn District Plan? Variations, architectural standards. The proposed development does not front Rodage Road and is screened by other development. What other development? It's pasture land between Wellborn Road and these storage units. There's a PUE for a city sewer line, but Planning and Zone, when they were annexing Wellborn, said that the rural areas would have no city sewer, but now somebody already has sewer or access to. The development of the first set, will the area along Melbourne Road see even more commercial development? The BTU electric line, there's 3 lines out there. One goes to the church, one goes up McCullough Road, and that line that comes across the property has to be moved. One concern is the Planning and Zone staff emphasis on only following required notification of to our fence line, but I have asked repeatedly. College Station City Council has just gone through the process of not communicating and not being open. What is the problem in notifying the people around that area that have asked to be notified, even though we're 205 feet maybe? So I repeat, let the citizens be informed. I did try to talk to the church. The pastor would not give me the name of the deacon. This was when it first started. I do have concern about that driveway. They're going in the church driveway that I've seen flooded, and then they're going to get these trucks and vans make a sharp turn into this storage unit. And now in there it is wider, but I'm not sure that's been thought through carefully. And then Welborn Road is a 2-lane road right now, so these trucks and vans turning in, we don't want more accidents. So that needs to be thought through. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cohen. No one else has asked to speak on this agenda item. Is there anyone else that would like to step forward? And if you could state your name and address for us, please, and try to keep the comments to 3 minutes.
Oh, I can do better than that. My name is Tom Marty. I live at 4324 Ledgestone Trail in College Station. I am a member of Welborn Baptist Church and part of their administrative team. The property that fronts Welborn Road has been already approved. All this is an extension of what has already been approved for that area. I understand this lady's concerns. I may even agree with several of them. But 60 members of the Welborn Baptist Church voted to approve the sale of this property for this development. Welborn Baptist Church, the little road that comes in and out, is more than adequate for what this developer has planned. I honestly can't say in my years at the church that I have seen any excessive flooding on our driveway. There has been some flooding down around the drainage ditch of our driveway and Welborn Road, but it's been moderate at best. It has never kept anybody from attending church. We get in and out of our facility on a regular basis without any problems. I don't understand why all of a sudden this has become such an issue with one or two people in the community that feel strongly about keeping the Welborn Baptist Church from selling property that we own to a development that has already been approved. With that, gentlemen, I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to step forward?
In response to his request, more than 60 people were involved in developing the Welborn District Plan. I did try to talk to them to understand some of their reasoning, but the pastor would not approve it. He did not give me any names. So while I understand their need to sell the property, which is fine, but let's just be sure we consider all these things I brought up. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else that would like to step forward? Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing, and I will look to my fellow commissioners for any discussion.
Mr. Howell, can I have you for a second? Can we pull up the map again of where this is proposed to go? Just for the other one, the green one.
This one?
So as I'm looking at this, while it says rural south of this on the existing zoning, as I'm looking on an actual map, I see down Welborn, Furniture Source International, a Chevron store, America's Country Store, and Home Center. Am I correct in that those are the next 4 adjacent properties to this one to the south?
Right, and that's consistent with the future land use designation as well, which is neighborhood commercial.
Right, so everything adjacent to this is currently being utilized as commercial, and its future land use is commercial.
That's correct along Welborn Road.
So it's both consistent with the future land use and it's consistent with what's actually on the ground being utilized right now, right?
Correct.
Okay. And that takes us pretty much all the way to the corner of Barron Cutoff, right? This property almost makes it to there. And then there's nothing along Welborn between this and that Barron Cutoff. So it is consistent with everything that's on the ground there right now?
Correct, and the property in the front is currently in development right now.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other discussion or questions for Mr. Howell?
Well, yeah, I'm curious, did the city really say they weren't going to build any self-storages in 23? Or, yeah, in 23.
So in the Wellborn plan, it does indicate that self-storage, and in the UDO as well, that self-storage is not permitted in the Wellborn Commercial Zoning District unless it was existing prior to 2011, which is when it was annexed into the city. And so that's where that is coming from. But in terms of the dialogue during those meetings and during the development of that plan, I'm not familiar with that, but that's where the information is coming from.
Thank you.
So given that, why is staff still recommending approval of this if it's contradictory to the original intent of that?
With the adjacent PDD to the to the front, that was also approved with the same modifications and the allowed uses. And so with this being a proposed extension of that same use and the future land use designation, that's why we're in support of that.
I know we saw that, and you said council's already approved that PDD on the front part of it?
Correct. That was
Okay.
approved back in 2020.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Then we'll entertain a motion.
One additional question.
Please.
Can I?
Yes, sir.
One additional question. I guess I'm trying to understand why the existence of the Wellborn Development Plan, why this is taking a preeminence over that development plan. Is that, does the land use required, is the land use that is required by the Wellborn Development Plan, does that become moot once they were annexed?
Jeff, if you don't mind. So the conversation that was had, that was on the original plan back in annexation
Right.
back in 2012. The current version of the Wellborn plan does not speak at all to self-storage. The recent adopted plan in 22 does not have the word self-storage in its entire plan. It actually is a permitted use in the use table. If you go look at the use table right now, you will see it is a permitted use in Wellborn Commercial for self-storage.
And for clarification, I guess Mr. Collins asked the same question. This is just bringing the rest of this property in line with what the commission and council has already approved, correct?
Correct. So again, whether or not what's being requested is a building layout and then uses, but the use of self-storage is permitted in Wellborn Commercial. So it's zoning to Wellborn Commercial, that use is allowed under that district.
So the city didn't say they weren't going to build self-storage there in 23.
Correct. You can go read through the Wellborn plan. It's not mentioned at all.
Thank you.
Sorry. So with that, I still need a motion and a second for this agenda item.
I move approval.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? This motion passes. Thank y'all very much. And I'm sure, as we have said many times before, you do have the availability to address your concerns to council as this agenda moves forward to them. That is the end of our regular agenda. We will move on to the informational agenda. Discussion of new developments submitted to the city. Anybody have any questions on those? Seeing none, I will move on to 6.2, which is presentation discussion regarding an update of items heard. And I am not going to read all of those as we had all of those previously. Does anybody have any question on all of those, as those were just updates to the ordinances that we needed to change because of state mandates? Seeing none, we will move on to 6.3, our upcoming schedule. October the 23rd, City Council will be here. We meet back here on November the 6th. Council is on November the 13th, and then we're back here on the 20th. Neither Design Review Board or BioCorridor met. Do we have any discussion on some possible future agenda items? Seeing none, thank y'all very much. We are adjourned.